Welcome to the Lenda Murray Experience. Today, a special guest, 3 times Ms. International Arnold champion, 3 times, Lauralie Chapados. Hello, Lauralie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this Lenda Murray experience.
Yes.
I'm honored.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And we just had this really great conversation. When we think of bikini, most of the women, we always assume that everybody wants to talk about your glutes and your hamstrings and your leg training, but we're going to learn your back training. Like, we had this great conversation about that. So people want to know everything from head to toe.
Yeah, I mean, my glutes has been, my lower half has been a topic, a hot topic for a while. So I'm glad that we're kind of shifting gear and, putting some acknowledgement to the entire body, because the bikini category, as we know, is all about proportions and creating a certain type of illusion. So some might say, you need to grow your glutes indefinitely. Not really. If, your waist starts getting bigger, no, you need to keep everything, as content as you can and just grow within your frame. So what we're trying to create today is a little bit of a wider back, and that has been my focus for the last.
Yeah, you showed me, you demonstrated and showed me like the side. And
so what I was explaining to Lenda earlier was about not only is having a back good for the back pose and creating that balance from top to bottom, but also in the front pose, you do see your back development. When we're doing this front pose right here, the lat attachment, you want to work on that lower lat right here to create that insertion that creates that illusion of a very, very small waist. Alongside with some rear delts for your shoulders as well, and bring everything together. So I have been working on back and also chest, which is a rare thing that you don't hear really often for bikini. So I'm excited to show that to you today.
Yes, we're really excited to see that, because that breaks it down. It's really, like you said, the entire physique.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what we'll start with first.
So we're starting with a V, I call it the V-lat pull down. If you have this machine with separate arms, you can adjust it the way that you want. And for me, it's either a great finisher or a great starter for my workouts, because it creates a very good mind-muscle connection. The thing with back for me was, I don't know if it's because I can't see it, it was kind of harder to feel.
I understand.
So we're starting with something a little bit lighter, a little bit more isolative, if you want me to.
Yes, I understand.
So we're already adjusted and ready to go. Gonna grab the cable. It's kind of heavy, but we'll figure it out. The hair is so important.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, because when people, I remember when I first learned, like when you're to the rear and you have your hair on your back, people, like you said, they don't think necessarily that the judges are looking, but it plays a major role.
It really does. It really does. So here I'm gonna adjust, my wrist. When I let the cable go, I kind of want my wrist to be aligned with the cable. So you don't want them too back or too forward. You want to just be an extension of the machine, right? So I'm letting this, pulling myself up, and I'm just gonna pull down. My cue here for people, and it has worked wonder for me, and I'm gonna give that little nugget to someone, is when you're doing a pull down, think about doing a pull up instead.
Okay.
So that way your scapula comes down at the same time, and you can just contract at the bottom for a second, and then lengthen and stretch, and back down.
Yep. And I love it. And here again, an example, guys, of control, and she's maintaining a position, and like you said, mimicking doing a pull-up. You're training your back. Her upper body's not doing any crazy rocking. She's using I can really see where you're using your lats, using your back to pull the weight. That's awesome. That was a challenge for me in the very beginning when I started weight training, because I don't see my back.
Exactly.
And I didn't really understand the mechanics of the back working and pulling, using the weight.
And then, you know, your bicep takes over and
Yep, and you know your stuff. So you guys can see that what she's talking about is the biceps can take over. So you really want to learn how to feel your back in the training to make that body part do the work. And you can see that. Yep, great development.
leading with your elbows. You know, there's so many different cues, Lenda. We could go on and on, you know, with what works or what doesn't. There's no absolute when it comes to training and cues because everybody's so different.
Yes.
But leading with your elbow could be one, too.
Yes, yes.
But having that,
Yeah.
pull up, you try it next time.
Yeah.
When you do a pull down, think about me and say, okay, I'm gonna pull up, and you'll be like, oh, my scapula is coming down because I had a little bit of an imbalance with my physique at some point in the back. So I couldn't bring my scapula down as much on one side than the other.
And that's something, because you learned that from probably when you first, like, were posing, or you saw a picture of your back, or just that fine tuning.
Correct. Yes, exactly. And the fine tuning is a constant work, right? So the more we compete and the older we get, you know, we have to put it out there. You're not the same, you know, and you have maybe at some point, I've been posing on this side for the last 10 years of my life. So now everything is very strong on this side. So now this during my training is going to be a little bit different. So I'm very blessed to have my boyfriend as my trainer. So he pointed out, he was like, wait, you have to see this. This is like, your arm is over here and you're already down there. It was like almost that bad. So we, you know, we went back to really focusing on engaging the scapula properly and everything. So
yeah. It's the, and that's so very important for athletes to know, like the meticulous, the fine tuning, because they see you walk out on stage and they just see you walk, and they don't know that pretty much your whole movement, everything is very calculated, but you do it with grace, and you do it where it just looks like relaxed and natural.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's why, you know, we work so hard, but making everything, like you said, it's controlled, it's intentional. Like, intentional is my favorite word, because I do everything with a lot of intention in what I do to make myself, you know, better than my last showing. So.
Oh yeah, yes, awesome. I love this.
Ready for the next
yes,
one?
Let's go to the next exercise. All right, so starting with the second exercise, pullovers. Tell us about pullovers.
So many variations for the pullover. You see cable very often. You can do them with bands. Anything, again, we're focusing on how can we work the muscle that we're trying to work. So figure that one first, and then you can apply any technique or movement that you, first of all, enjoy, and then second, that you do feel the muscle working. So today I'm going to show you this variation that is with a dumbbell on a bench, and we'll go right into it.
Okay, let's do that. I have great memories of pullovers.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about
back
it.
In the gym, hardcore gym, you know, we didn't have a lot of the cool machines, even cables. You know, I remember when cables, when they were introduced, but a lot of dumbbell stuff and pullovers, that was the thing. Like
Would you do
that
it
from
like
guys.
this?
Yes.
You did?
Just like this.
Were you having like your body off the bench?
Yep, I did
You
the
were
body
this way.
off the bench. I did it that way.
Yeah,
Yep,
like that.
that's how I started.
Wait, show me how you do it.
Yep, it
Let's
was
do
the
that.
same exact way.
Okay.
Same thing.
Here.
Same thing. Yep, same. Pulling over. Yep, yep.
Would you go lower on the bench? Maybe a little bit like here.
Let's see. Yeah, right there. And I believe with Nautilus, he had a machine that was a pullover.
I have it. Yes.
Yes. Yep, and then stopping it right there and squeezing. Yep, and pulling. Oh yeah. So this was definitely the way we did it. at that angle. But you do it now where your body's across the bench.
A little bit, so that way my head, you know, can.
And so why do you do it that way? I'm sure, because for one, I know it's all upper body, right? Like here, you probably feel a lot, you can feel some of your, a lot of people would cheat probably in here too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can swing yourself over. So I'm trying to putting myself into a place where, again, that's the only thing that works.
It's the only thing that's working, right? Because we know how, when you put your feet on the floor, a lot of times people can cheat using their feet, but you know how to just use your upper body, use the body part that you're training. Wow. Yeah, and I can really see the insertion of your back in here. When you're doing that side pose, I can see it.
You see it. That's what I want to hear. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, we talked about, let's talk about people in the training and the importance of not using all kinds of apparatuses. I've noticed a lot of the athletes love to use the belts and the waist trainers while they're training. Do you use a waist trainer? Do that while you're training?
I do not. I do not use a waist trainer while I train or ever for that instance. I prefer having a functional body. And when I tried the waist trainer for one time, I realized my digestion wasn't good, and bodybuilding have many parts, right? It's about training, it's about aesthetic, it's about, do you digest your meals? Do you assimilate your food and everything? It's not just going through the movement. So I think when I go to the gym, it's not to go through movement or going through a program. That's why I don't really ever follow a spreadsheet with an exercise and then 3 times 15. I can't even count my reps. I always go by feel.
Yes.
I always push until I know that's where I need to push, or I have really good trainer around me that puts me into that zone where they understand what I'm trying to achieve here, and it's mind-muscle connection. It's developing and little minute intricacies. I'm not trying to just pass the hour. Okay, we have an hour. Let's just do as many things that we can, or like I want to do that movement and that movement. No, if I'm able to tell you this variation today was really good for me, but if I was to be a little bit more tired, let's put my foot on the bench so that way I can not think about bracing my core as much, and that gives me a little bit more of that concentration that I'm chasing. Everything, I think, it's how can I work my muscle and put muscle tension or tension into that area that I want to.
It's just so on point. It's so on point.
You just start thinking differently. You know what I mean? And you don't. That's why I don't believe in waist trainer unless someone they like the feeling that it puts them into, and it makes them super happy, and those endorphins and that serotonin makes them more happier to go about their life. That's another topic we can talk about. But for me, I prefer not to. And I'm chasing, guys, every rep I'm chasing that contraction.
I completely relate, understand. I did not use a belt when I did squats. Sometimes, like you said, if I felt like I needed that particular day for some reason, but I feel like I did not want to use an apparatus. Knee wraps, no, because I did not want to give my body, my muscle, a false sense of security, and subjecting my back, subjecting my knees to something not necessary.
And look at her, guys. Like, this is the epitome of longevity for me. And when I hear those things, I know I'm doing something right. And you are not doing the fast race. If you wanted to go fast, you'd be like, let's strap those things and go as heavy as we can. But you were like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna stay in my own lane. I'm gonna do what's right for my body. And let's say you have to, you know, straighten your knees. We don't see bodybuilders like, oh, let me straighten my ankle. But now with my boyfriend, he takes my hamstrings and we're doing functional kind of work and like realignment and readjustment before my training sessions. So everything is a lot different now.
Smart. That's just called, it's called smart training, guys. We're gonna move on to the next, our
do
third
it.
exercise.
The infamous lat pull down. And we have the Paramount. This is such a OG, old school lat pull down. I'm excited to use it. So
I love that. You said it's the OG, that's right.
it's a good old machine.
Right, because if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, I agree. We love the new things, but sometimes the good OG, they knew how to do it.
They knew how to do it, right. They like to try to make things fancy now. Like, oh, this is new, this is different. Sales.
It's a business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here, I mean, very straightforward and straight to the point. We have a wide grip bar. We want to go for width, but it doesn't mean that you have to go super wide either. You have to find wherever you feel the contraction the best. So when it comes for my personal preference or my personal, like the best that I feel it, I go about right here.
Okay.
That's where you're gonna see. I can show you know how it looks. Also, if I go super wide, I start feeling in my bicep, a little bit in my rotator cuff as well. I'm doing a lot of body work though to help me with that. But I want to say that that's where I normally put my hands, like right here. And also I want to add, you don't have to. You're not locked into that position. Sometimes you see someone that, you know, they're gonna go through a set, but they didn't feel it right to the first time. So you can go through an instructional set. That's how I call them.
Instructional set, I like that.
Instructional set or introduction set where, okay, you're trying to, where do you feel it best today? So here, I'm like, okay, that feels good. Or then you can adjust yourself, being closer. And then you can start your working set.
Yes.
So that for me is right here. And I keep kind of my elbow a little bit underneath the bar. Forward.
I see that. Yeah.
I don't hinge back too far. Keep my chin up.
And great form here. Body stays upright, and when she pulls that weight, that back, she positions her back, upper body where she wants it to be, and then uses the back to pull the weight. And like you said, there's so many variations just from where you place your hands to even the adjustment that you made as far as how you're seated and your legs being up against the pad or sticking, you know, out.
I like to keep the cable like where it falls. So I'm not trying to be too back. I'm not trying to be too forward because otherwise the machine won't work right.
Yes, and see that right there, that adjustment, that makes a big difference. How close she is where her midsection's right up against the pads and now she moved out.
So that would be maybe more rear delts. I want to say if I wanted to do that way. But if I want to work my back, that's, you know, cable straight ahead, and I'm just pulling down and trying to keep that cable completely straight. Big stretch at the top. I like a good stretch at the top, and then I can just pull myself up in my head. In my mind, I pull myself up.
Yeah, this exercise, again, what I love is that you're training back, and like we said, a lot of the women out there, they're so focused on what you're doing for your glutes. You understand weight training. We just went through several exercises where you demonstrated controlling the weight, moving the weight, making that body part do the work, not depending on all types of apparatus. Because I think a lot of women out there think that they're supposed to wear that waist trainer and train. And I was just kind of curious where that came from.
There's trends. I'm sure you've
Yes,
seen so
yes.
many of them. I've seen so many of them too. But I think the most powerful thing a woman can do for herself is understanding her body, how it works, and having goal in what the intention she's setting herself into to achieve a certain goal. So it's funny that you say you've never depended on those things. I was the absolute same. When I first started bodybuilding, I was like, I don't want no pre-workout. I don't even want to have to depend on my music because then I can use that as an excuse of why I didn't perform at the gym. It was, oh, I forgot my headphones, so my gym is, no. Let me train without the music, without any pre-workout, and then slowly but surely, I, obviously changed my routine. Now I enjoy and I see the benefit of having a pre-workout at a certain point too. But I control those variables, and I don't let those variables control me. So it's never gonna be, oh, I lost because I didn't wear a waist trainer. No, there's it doesn't work that way.
I understand. Just so when you first started, were introduced to weight training, did you learn this on your own? You know what I mean?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, the lights, right?
Yeah. So did you learn this on your own? What did you tell us the beginning?
The beginning of Lauralie was 17 years old. I bought a membership to the gym, and I was in that small weight room, ladies' weight room, and we had a couple barbells, a couple dumbbells, and I had a beautiful website, bodybuilding.com, and T-Nation. I think that was the only two website that it has, and I think I went and my first diet was Steve's Cook diet with 10 egg whites in the morning. Absolutely clueless, but I had certain movement, and I just had a sheet of paper, printed out sheet of paper, and I went to the gym. Okay, let me try this out. Okay, a good morning, right? Oh, here. Oh, I feel it more here. I try to measure. So it was a lot of trial and error. Not that really trial and error, yes, but a lot of I was just so in tune with my body. How does it feel when I do this? How does it feel when I do that? What does it feel if I stop right here for a pause and then I went back in? So just a lot of adventuring and having fun. I think that's, having fun and enjoying the weight room and the weights, and it's just a different aura. When you do enjoy what you do, that's when you go places that people don't really go to.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that 100%. So really thank you, because you're giving us insight into, I remember when bikini first came on the scene, and a lot of the people in our industry, the bodybuilders, they want to say initially that you guys don't know, you don't weight train, but you weight train. And not just do you weight train, but you're smart training, the mind and body connection.
Yes, I think we all train for our own category, and I remember when I got into the sport, it was still around that bikini girls don't train, and it's okay if that's your perception. It's fine. Let's train together, and we'll see that afterwards.
I love it.
But to each his own. I think we have so many great categories into the sport. Thankful to the NPC and the IFBB that does such an amazing job of giving a space and a home for everybody that wants to train and look a certain way. But working hard to be and represent that the best way that I can for this Olympia.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Lauralie Chapados.